Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Gnandiye Munida Janaha. Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses with his intimate devotees at the residence of Sri Girish Chandra Ghosh on 25th of February 1885, where Sri Ramakrishna came on his way to see a drama in Kolkata, Rishaketu. During the course of conversation, Sri Ramakrishna gave a powerful message to his intimate devotees. While we study the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we should study in between the lines and in depth, because deep spiritual messages are delivered by Sri Ramakrishna in most simple words. If we register them with utmost care, with sincerity, then we can transform our lives beyond expectation. Sri Ramakrishna is not telling us to do something fantastic which we cannot do, it is beyond our capacity. Only thing, we have to hear his message, and on hearing we should understand the message, and on understanding we should implement the message. The three ways to attain realization. They're all after realization. This is an age-old method, three-staged development. First is Shravana. We must hear, we must know. It doesn't fall from heaven. Either we read a book or we hear a dialogue, a conversation, a message. First is to hear, to know. Either you read or you hear. This is Shravana. When there was no script, it was to be only acquired through hearing, oral and sound transformation. Second is cogitation, Shravana Manana. You have to analyze, cogitate, vichar karna. Simple hearing is not enough. You must question and digest the information into a knowledge. Information is some data, but it has to be digested in a knowledge form. Thirdly is nididhyasana, to implement that knowledge into our life. Now an example is given. Somebody has said that dahi, curd, is very essential, very beneficial for our life. कहा जाता है दधि धारणे, curd. So you hear that first, and you can analyze its property, how curd is made, and what is the advantage and disadvantage of curd. All that data you can acquire, that is Shravana. Then you cogitate on it, that how the curd is made all arrangements, and then you prepare the curd. That knowledge has been transferred into wisdom. And third, you have to take the curd to get the benefit. Simply analysis and theoretical jargon will not help us. So similarly, when you study the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, first you have to acquire the knowledge. Second, we have to understand the deep significance of the knowledge. Thirdly, we have to implement it and get the result. It's as simple as that. Either we get stuck at the first level, we do not get an opportunity to hear. Many of us visit our centers, our ashramas, but hardly anybody has an interest to get in touch with the message of Sri Ramakrishna. They are caught up with all other the details on the surface. Many programs, many events going on. First is to, when I visit, we get the information about the message of Sri Ramakrishna. You have to hear. Secondly, we have to make arrangements, preparations accordingly. I'll give you an example also. And thirdly, that technique has to be implemented in our life to get the benefit. For example, here Sri Ramakrishna is telling to the brother of Girish Chandra Ghosh. Now, you know, Girish Chandra Ghosh was an out-and-out sinner, engaged in all sinful activities, but not his brother. His brother was a nice person. He was an advocate in Calcutta High Court, Atul. Just an ordinary man, householder. But then he wanted to realize God. He is not a saint. He is not a full-time person to call on God. He has got a very busy practice as an ordinary householder, so-called ordinary householder. Now, Sri Ramakrishna has given him the solution by which he can realize God. And the solution, difficulty of the solution is, it is too simple to believe. That is the difficulty of Sri Ramakrishna. He does not prescribe a long list of procedures. Now, we have made things very complicated by our own peculiar intellectual pride. We feel we know everything. When you go to a doctor, we say our disease, but we presuppose the solution procedure. We'd expect the doctor will give a list of prescription, at least 10 drugs, minimum. If he gives less, we feel that the doctor doesn't know, he's ignorant. Minimum 10 or 12 drugs should be there, long procedure and then some investigations, then we feel very happy, no matter what is the result. If a doctor gives 1 or 2 medicines, we do not believe. Hardly we take it and it doesn't work. Sri Ramakrishna is here to solve the problem, not to make it complicated. So if you study his solution procedure at one reading, you will feel it is bogus. It cannot work. How is it possible? What is the solution? तुम ये वो करो, वो करो. You do this and you do that. Tolmal karke, combine. Combine your worldly activities and also call on God simultaneously. Is it possible? It's never possible. You cannot be engaged in your worldly activities all the time and at the same time you can call on God. We outrightly reject it. We don't accept. It doesn't work. He gives us a procedure which is practicable. He is God of the universe. He is giving us something, it's not bogus, it cannot be bogus. First of all, you must have faith. The intrinsic faith, Shraddha. Whatever he is telling must be having some worth. It requires our attention. It requires our deep thought. And that's why you are arranging this class. What is the use of making a class? Because the method is very simple. It is so simple that it has to be explained. There are two methods of explanation. There are some scriptural truths which are very complicated with long grammar and understanding. We do not know the language. That needs an explanation. Difficulty of Sri Ramakrishna, he is telling in the vernaculars in simple Bengali translated into very simple Hindi and English. No difficulty in understanding. We do not need a translation. We need an explanation and interpretation to get it translated to our complicated brain. For simple people, it's very easy. There's nothing complicated. But for complicated people, you must make simple thing complicated to make them understand. That is the problem with us. Here he is telling, you'll be surprised to the simplicity of the message which we have been discussing for the last so many weeks. Now, Atul is the brother of Girish Ghosh, as I said. Given an introduction, Atul is a pleader in the Calcutta High Court. That is his introduction. The introduction has to be remembered. It was not yet dusk, just getting in the afternoon. Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Atul, who was seated in front of him. He is a householder, he is not a saint, doesn't have much time for God realization, and was Girish's brother. And doesn't have a big noble background also. Girish is the most sinful person, his brother. But he is not a sinful person, but anyway, doesn't come from a very great, neither he is a Brahmin. And he was a lawyer at the High Court. Calcutta High Court is a lawyer. Simple. He was a lawyer of the High Court of Calcutta. A Brahmin neighbor was also seated near him. Now, this introduction is important. He was accompanied by a Brahmin neighbor. The Brahmin people have difficulty because they come from the high origin. They have a false pride that due to their heredity, they are closer to God. The most silly atmosphere they have in their brain. The Brahmin, he thinks with no reason whatsoever, because of his progeny, he is closer to God. So that stands in the way for their ultimate goal. Now, why I am saying it will be followed by the following conversation. He was seated. Sri Ramakrishna did not make any discrimination. He did not make. We are making out of our own. Now, Atul was a lawyer of Calcutta High Court. This is the person seated. Beside, there is a Brahmin devotee seated. Okay, both are householders. And what is the instruction? Because Sri Ramakrishna says, the goal of life is to realize God. He didn't make any discrimination. That the goal is meant only for the sadhus, or sannyasis, or full-timers, and not for householders. He doesn't say. Goal of human life, no matter who you are, men, women, Indian, foreign, householder, sannyasin, rich, poor, ignorant, wise, for everyone the goal is same, to realize God. And what is the way out? He is saying, those who are engaged in household, this message now is mainly for the householders who are engaged in household activities. They have hardly any time left for exclusive thinking of God, which the sannyasins are allowed, because they are meant for that. They have left the world and they are full-timers. They are supposed to do bhajan kirtan throughout the day, not the householders. Householders have to spend most of their time in managing their household activities. For them, the message is All I want to tell you, there is a total message, nothing more and nothing. We are adding and subtracting. That is our brain. Sri Ramakrishna is saying in the beginning, all I want to say, my total message is this. Follow both. That's all. Follow both. What is both? Perform your duties in the world and also cultivate love for God. First instruction, perform your duties in the world. The duties in the world which is given to you is given by God, not by a ghost or not by a Satan. God is your controller. He is seated within your heart. He is managing your show. He has prescribed certain duties to be performed. We have no faith in it. We think that it is our karma. It is we are not supposed to do it. We are supposed to meditate, and we have been unnecessarily forced in this work of the society, work of the world, detrimental to our spiritual progress. Is our brain. First of all, we have to delete all this complicated thought from our life. You have to get the message clear. What is the message? Follow both. What is both? Perform your duties as far as you can. He is not asking that you do something fantastic. If you are supposed to do your duties, whatever you are doing, he is not expected to do something extraordinary. Whatever capacity you are able to do that sincerely. But one more thing, that is not enough, and think of God. Now, immediately, see, I said the Brahmin person is there immediately. Now, the Brahmin said, can anyone but a Brahmin achieve perfection? He didn't qualify. The brain cord came to the Brahmin that how can a non-Brahmin practice and get realization? Because there is a peculiar belief that God realization is restricted to certain class of people. Neither God nor the saints tell it. It is our peculiar belief, and more interesting is most people believe in that. When Brahmin is saying, everyone thought he is telling truth without any background. So that needed an explanation. Because if he said, Sri Ramakrishna simple should have whisked away. Who the hell you are telling all this? What do you know? Are you a realized person? Sri Ramakrishna didn't tell that. Why? Because he knows this statement will be believed by most of the persons seated there and most of the readers in years to come. Those who will read this, they will think, हाँ जब बोला ब्राह्मण तो नहीं हुआ, हम तो ब्राह्मण नहीं है, नहीं होगा. This is a difficulty. We are not able to give our full attention and full faith on the words of Sri Ramakrishna. We want to get it that redefined, that we want to get it restructured by our brain work. Knowing that, now Sri Ramakrishna has to counteract what he said. Now he says, why should you ask that? What is the basis? Has anyone written? Now, further he gives some counter examples. Straight, he says, it is said that in the Kali Yuga, the Shudras achieve love of God. It is said in the Kali Yuga. What you are saying, the can Brahmin achieve? He says, yes, it is done. And gives, there are certain instances. Shavari, Ruhidas, and untouchable Guhaks and others. There is a long list. He gives only 3. We have already discussing for a few weeks. We have discussed about Shavari, now we have been discussing about Vedas. Now, he says that it is possible for all, and especially for Shudras also, not only to realize God, but to become exalted saints. In this list, he says, Vedas. And ironically, we'll find that the message of Vedas was identical to what Sri Ramakrishna is saying here. Exactly. 600 years ago, what he said, Vedas. is exactly being reproduced by Sri Ramakrishna in this gospel. This is what we have been discussing for the past few weeks. Now, we know that the introduction we have already discussed, it has recapitulated. Vedas was a chamar, shoemaker, and he realized God. In order to prove that shoemaking is not a heinous activity, even after realization of God, he continued to make shoes throughout the end of his life. He did not leave his profession. Because people might think that shoemaking is a heinous activity. While engaged in the sadhana, he was continuously making shoe to prove that no profession is negligible. God's message is do your duties, no matter whether making shoes or cooking your food or teaching in a hospital, in a school or treating a patient in the hospital, doesn't matter. Whatever you are doing, you should continue to do that. Evo karo, do that. And with that, what Vedas did, he added, take the name of Ram. Take God's name. So the message what Vedas gave is very interesting, that it ends up with the central message of Sri Ramakrishna here. It is said, it's a big subject, but we have to continue, we have to conclude this now. Now, the central message of Vedas is this: जीवा सो ओंकार जप हत्तन सो करकार राम मिलहि घर आई कर कही रविदास विचार. This is the central message. You repeat God's name in your tongue. Jiva so onkara jap. Repeat onkar or whatever your God's name is there. Either onkar if you are nirakarbadi, or name of God you are sakarbadi. Jiva so onkar. So you repeat. Evo karo. Name God's and hathan so karkar. हाथ में काम लो, मन में राम लो. तो चीज करो. करने से क्या होगा? Ram will घर आई कर. Ram will come. You don't have to go to Rama. Ram will come wherever you are. As he came in the house of Shavari. Shavari is that hut in a jungle. Rama had to go all the way asking people, where is Shavari staying? Why? Because he was doing these two things. She was performing the duties prescribed by her Guru and repeating God's name. And Ravidas is saying the same thing, and he is saying this is my conclusion also in my life. So whatever Sri Ramakrishna said, Ravidas did in his life, being a chamar, and his words are even found true despite all oppositions in the Newcomb corner of this country. We are so fortunate that we have been blessed by such exalted souls. Now, we are given many that miraculous incidents in Ravidas' life that I need not repeat now. But what I say, that Sant Ravidas, that message, his philosophy is hinged on 5 great truths. He had 5 great truths which was implemented in his life and propagated, which is still effective in today's world. First is मानव की समानता. First message, that there should not be any discrimination between human beings. Sri Ramakrishna said, definitely there should be discrimination between the human and animals. Sri Ramakrishna didn't say that जानवर का जीवन का उद्देश्य भगवान लाभ नहीं होगा. You must have a human body to realize God, because there are some instruments are necessary to understand buddhi, vichar, prem. So human body is necessary. We all are human beings. Stand before a mirror and find out who you are. And that is the sufficient and necessary condition to realize God. enough. We don't need anything more. Doesn't need any background. So Manav ki samanda means all human beings are equal. The color of blood of all human beings will be same. All human beings have the same structure, 206 pieces of bones in the anatomy. They have a heart. Everything is same. Difference is in the complexion of mind. That has to be removed. First is Manav ki samanta. Even there is no high or low, rich and poor. All are equally eligible to realize God. Number one. All were made by God. All started from God. All will end up by reaching God. Our source and destination is same. In between we have been sent here by God to do certain of His duties, and the method is complete the duties as far as you can with a touch in God in your mind. Haath mein kaam lo, man mein raam lo. Second point. Sadachari Jivan. There should be a moral life. Be good and do good to others. This, you have to make your life oriented. We know we have got our intellect, we have got our buddhi, and we have got our conscience. Vivek jisko कहलाता है. We have to, if we go do something against our conscience, our own mind will tell us we are not doing correct. So let your conscience guide you. Conscience is within. God is conscience, Vivek. So let us follow the dictates of our Vivek. Do whatever is good, reject whatever is not good. If you cannot do, pray to God, so that your mind becomes oriented towards God. Number two is Sadachari Jivan, Naitikata, moral life. Number three is Santosh, be contented. Here we are discontent because of worldly deficiencies. We have to be discontent for not being able to realize God. That is important. Our संतोष, श्रीमान शादी कहते थे, संतोष का समान धन नहीं है. There is no rich, no wealth as equal to santosh. So be completely satisfied with whatever you get in the environment, but remain dissatisfied till you realize God. Your goal is not reached. Do not become satisfied. There will be end of the suicidal for your moral and spiritual life. You be extremely eager, restless, till you realize God. Nevertheless, whatever is provided in the environment, your livelihood, your condition, your age, your disease, your body, mind, accept it as enough, sufficient. But remain unsatisfied for being separated from God till that time arrives. The third point, be contented for whatever mundane things you get. Be discontented because of all spiritual unfulfillment. Number three. Fourth, he gives a wonderful message. Shram hi Ishwar hai. This is a wonderful message. He says that God is our labor, whatever we do. The laborers are nowadays that they are despised upon. अरे वो तो लेबर है, श्रम साधन करते हैं, as if they are some that inferior people. वो कहते हैं रविदास जी के दृष्टि में श्रम ईश्वर का रूप है. श्रम ही ईश्वर भक्ति है. श्रम साधना ही संसार में सुख शांति की अद्वितीय किंतु सरल साधन है. Sri Ramakrishna says, do your work. He did not say go to forest or do upavas or do night vigil. He did not say that. He says do your work. But that is so simple, we don't accept it. How? By doing your duty. See, if we become more confident on our own will, then we cannot help us. This is a message of God, and it has been authenticated in today's life. People may think that these are all old statements. No, even today, even before and after, even before this, Ravidas ji admitted before Sri Ramakrishna. See, that it's age-old method, age-old conversation, age-old system that Shram hi Ishwar hai. God is present within the duties, within my duties, whatever work I am doing, that is God, that is I am in touch with God. To be in touch with God, we don't have to give up your duties and go to the shrine. Work and hand makes us in touch with God. That attitude should be there. That is a holistic attitude of life. My every moment become a divine because the work is God. The work should be taken in that sanctity. Then our whole life gets transformed into divine experience. We think that the time we sit with your mala, repeat God's name, that is spiritual life, and the rest are all bogus life, it's work life. There is no difference. Sister Nivedita says there is no difference between secular and sacred. There is nothing secular and sacred. Everything is sacred. That is the new definition of Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Here he says, and the same thing has been said by Ravidas, Sri Ramakrishna saying, look at the life of Ravidas. He says that Shram hi Ishwar hai, Shram hi Ishwar Bhakti ki upaya hai. श्रम साधना ही संसार में सुख शांति की अद्वितीय पैरेलल टू नन सरल साधन है. And he said that Ravidas ji need not only prescribe that some sadhana should be done, he did it himself in his own life till the last day of his life. That till the last day of his life he continued, and not only Ravidas, everybody who was the exalted, they have shown, Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ma Sharda Devi, Swami Vivekananda, everybody did work till the last moment of their life and showed that they are in touch with God through their work. Even this, he says, the last point is, मानव प्रेम ही प्रभु का वास मानती है. मानव सेवा ही तप के संगा दिया है. मानव सेवा ही माधव सेवा, एज श्री रामकृष्ण सेज, शिव ज्ञान से जीव सेवा. Do your work, do the work for others as your service to the divine in reality around you. And this human life is very rare, दुर्लभ. दुर्लभ मानव जीवन को सुखी और सफल बनाने के लिए संत रविदास जी ने समाज को जो महान संदेश दिया है, वो संक्षेप में उनके निम्नलिखित वचनों द्वारा विशेषता से प्रकट किया जा रहा है. कायम दायम राम एक, दोयम सत्य ईमान, रविदास राम और सत्य बीन, बिरथा सब कुछ जान. एक भरोसो राम को और भरोसो सत्कार, सफल हो जीवना कवि रविदास विचारा. जीवा सो ओंकार जप, हत्तन सो को कार, राम मिलहि घर आई कर, कही रविदास विचार. That is the end of his message. Do your work and be and engage your mind with God. यो करो वो करो. See, same thing. Do this and do that. And it is the goal. It is for us to accept this and then implement it in our life, depending on whether we want to realize God here and now or go on making a theoretical conversation. We'll continue our discussion further in our next Sunday class. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampadhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. We close now with the chanting of the Lord. Please join with me. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om.